Hi, Nick. So your question is how do you calculate an interest rate? The first thing to know is the interest rate is going to be given to you by a financial institution. And so if you just Google, like, if you're looking for a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage or whatever, you could sort of Google what's a 30-year mortgage interest rate, or you could call a company like Quicken Loans. Quicken offers loans, and you can find out what the interest rate is for a loan. Or if you're, doing an investment, some investments will have fixed interest rate, a guaranteed return. Others, it just depends upon the performance of the underlying asset. So that would be like if you buy a stock, right? Does the stock go up in value because people think, oh, this company is doing well and it's making more money and more people purchase the stock, so you're able to sell it for $200 and you bought it for 100. So that'd be a different type of return. So that's one way that you figure out your interest rate. And once you have the actual interest rate, how do you actually do the calculation? So I'm just trying to cover all the bases here, from your question, how do you calculate an interest rate? So, here we have an interest rate, 5.25%, and that's an annual interest rate. One more thing I have to say about interest rates is APR, annual percentage rate. APR is sort of a standardized rate which is determined when all costs are taken into consideration. So if you're shopping for a loan and you want to compare how much does a loan cost in one place versus another place, looking at the APR, the annual percentage rate, I think that's what it stands for, APR, annual percentage rate, yeah, is really what you want to do for comparison shopping, right? So after all the costs and everything, somebody might offer a 3% interest rate but charge you $20,000 to get that. And so the actual interest rate might be 17% or whatever. So the APR is how you shop for interest rates. So how do you calculate the interest rate? So here's the annual interest rate. And when I do this calculation, like what I'm going to calculate my payment, right? I need to use like the payment formula. So I'm going to go and choose to insert a financial function, and I want to insert the payment function. So there it is. And now it's going to ask me what is my rate. So I'm just going to say my rate is equal to that. But notice that that's my annual rate, and I'm looking for the monthly payment. So I need to take my annual rate, which is, in D4, and divide it by 12. Because my annual rate divided by 12 will give me my monthly rate. And then again, D4 divided by 12. So let's try that again. Equals that divided by 12. And then, I don't know why that's invalid. We'll come back and play with that in a second. D4, and it should be fine. Number of periods should be 30 years, so it should be that. Times, oh, I know why it's invalid. 12, because there's 12 in each period. Let's get rid of the equal sign. There we go. And the present value is I'm borrowing, so it's going to be a negative that amount. And the future value I'll be paid off. And I'm just going to hit OK. And so there is my payment. So that's how I calculated my interest rate for that formula. And, you have to kind of think, is it annual or is it monthly? What am I, on what time period am I calculating things? So I hope that answers your question. You might have been asking, how do I calculate interest manually? So let's just take a quick look at that. And so we have C, D, E, F, and you'll notice here I go straight to H, right? That's because I've hidden a column there, E, F, H. G is hidden there. So if I select F and H, and then right-click, select, right-click, select, right-click right there, and choose unhide, it'll show me G. And so there's my interest check, and maybe that's what you're asking. And so my interest check is basically how much interest did I incur over a month on this amount right there. And so here is like, this formula right here. Wow, right? That's kind of like my interest payment. It puts in all that stuff. That's confusing. I just want to check to make sure that that's doing that right. And so let's just think about this for a second. So if this is my loan balance, and I'm going to pay a certain amount of interest, if I was going to pay interest on this amount for a year, it would be that amount times my interest rate. And that would be my annual interest that I would pay on $300,000. Wow, that's a lot. Well, if I'm only going to do it for a month, right, I need to take D4 and I need to divide that by 12 because I'm paying interest on this amount for 1/12 of, just 1/12 because it's 1/12 of a year. And that's what we pay over a year, 5.25%. So 1/12 of 5.25% is what I pay over a month. And so I do that and I get 1312.50. And then if I kind of set this up with, absolute cell references there to always reference my interest rate, is I take this formula and I copy it down. So I'll just right click and choose copy and then choose paste. I hate all these paste options, right? It starts giving it to me for every month, you know. And you can see there I'm getting the same figures that I got all the way across. So maybe that's what you're asking about, how to calculate interest rate. Brother, I hope this helped you. I commend you on your search for knowledge, and don't forget to help other people in the world as you become successful and powerful and rich, because you're learning Excel. So you must be interested in numbers and finance, and that's a powerful tool. So keep the good heart as you keep traveling through the world and keep helping people. There you go. Peace.